Yeah, the updates. Nixon Gomes still not with the squad. Henry Wingo returned back to Vancouver for MRI treatment. Derek Etienne is back in Vancouver as well. Uh, he his injury is hopefully going to be good for Wednesday. I think Henry could be good for Wednesday. Nixon could be good for Wednesday as well. Um, Not saying that they're going to be good to start, but they could be back with the squad for some minutes. So hoping that those players bolster us at a time where I think the group will be on fumes. But they're the updates there. Shane O'Neill, he was struggling coming out of the game, so it'd be questionable testing him tomorrow and just making sure he's good to go. And obviously Lorenzo came out of the game with sore coughs. So again, we'll be just making sure tomorrow that he's good to go and can be available. So I'd say they're the main ones. And obviously Davy Flores with the suspension will be missing.
What about Tyrese, John? I noticed he did make the game on Wednesday. Was that because of the 30-man rule, or was that something else?
No, we can only put 18 on the game day roster. So really difficult when you have Bernadeschi and Laria available in those wing-back spots and those players, the DPs, and there was only probably one situation we could see Federico coming out of the game, and if we were winning the game and closing it with Kobe Franklin coming off the bench to replace him with a bit more defensive commitment. And Tyrese, we just didn't see Richie coming out of the game at all. And typically that's where Tyrese has been used for us. And also he's coming back, John. I mean, when you're picking an 18-man roster for a final, you're looking at guys that are in rhythm for the final. And Ty's, still on that road to come back. Hasn't played a lot of minutes. He's been picking up that back injury. When he comes back, he plays, and then he's out for a bit longer. So for him, he's just building that durability. And the final, there was other players that had a bigger contribution.
We'll go next to James.
Thanks, Nicole. Hey, John.
Hey, James.
I was hoping you could give us a bit of a sense of what the last few days have looked like. What's been the response from the guys? How have you seen them refocus?
Yeah, I think they were disappointed, really disappointed. You can lose finals, but, I think what they can take from it is they did give their best. There's games that you can come out and you look yourself in the mirror and, you left something on the table. I think the lads give it everything. Um, and they did well. I think it was from a confidence perspective, it was, good for the players to feel that sort of rhythm in what's usually a really tough place to go. So, they've came out of it disappointed. Obviously, they know they were very close to bringing that trophy home for the fans and, giving our fan base something to celebrate. But at the same time, there was a bit of pride in the effort and how we lost. I thought we lost the right way. If you're going to lose, you've got to lose the right way, and those boys did. So I think that makes it an easier transition. It's never easy to lose a final. I think you can see the bags in my eyes. You'll see that with the players. It was a bit of a sleepless night. But we've had to turn around today. They got out there in windy conditions here in Chicago, and we're dialed in the training session. It was a light training, a tactical training, sometimes tough ones to do, but the guys were really well dialed in. So expecting them to turn around quick.
John, the schedule gods have not been kind to you guys, but how important are these three matches you guys have coming at the end of this brutal run?
Life or death, cup final time again. It's cup final time. I think the Colorado game was a one where we give it our best. We did some rotations to sort of manage for the cup final, but this next 3 games is just, we've got to get the best lineup out there. We've got to get guys who are absolutely locked in, committed, feeling hungry, and try and keep some consistency while, you know, as you've said, with the schedule and gods, paying them some respect as well. I mean, we've got players now that are getting close to red line minutes. We've got guys who've just come off turf who don't really play well on turf in terms of their body, and guys that are coming out of altitude. So all of these factors are at play, but this is MLS, there's no excuses in MLS. You've just got to get on with it and be resilient and get excited for, a tough test in Chicago. The Chicago team, I've got a lot of pride to play for at home, and maybe a little bit of freedom in their psychology. So for us, we've got everything to play for. We're in the playoff spots, and our purpose is going to be strong going into to this match, and that should carry us through.
We'll go back to John.
Thanks, Nicole. John, it's your second look against Chicago this year. Obviously, it's been a while since you've played them. They've changed, and you've changed a lot since that game in June. From a tactical perspective, what type of match are you expecting from them tomorrow?
I think similar, very similar in how they've been setting up. I mean, Frank shifted to a back five, closer to the time that we played them, and they started getting some success in that system. So we're anticipating he'll continue in that space. He might change, but I think the amount of different templates we've played against in the last 3-4 weeks, and the way the games have been coming thick and fast, we'll be ready to adapt to whatever's out there. But what I do know about them is they have a really good midfield three in Acosta, and obviously Gutierrez, who's had a bit of a breakout season. They're really direct when they need to be, and they're very good at being direct. They're very good at getting in behind you quick and bringing those midfield two underneath. But if you give that direct player too much respect, then they shift into another mode, which is they can play. They can dominate the ball as well. So, for us, we know this is a well-organized team, and I think, similar to us, they've just struggled in big moments, scoring goals and being able to kill games off. So, for us, we know we have to be clean in and around the box. This is a team that hasn't scored many goals. So we've got to be clean around the box, and if we're clean around our box, I think similar to the Whitecaps game, this is a game where we can put a lot more attention on finding the back of the net. And I think you raised it the other day. It's been a while since we did that, since the Austin game. So yeah, we've been putting some attention to that, and bringing some focus to players that it's their jobs to really help our team win the game in that part of the field. So there'll be a big focus on that in my team talk tomorrow as well, John. So I think it's if we keep the habits from the other night, and I thought our habits from Colorado, I thought we were very resolute in that game. We've got to find a way to score, and that's the big mission.
We'll go back to James.
Thanks, Dan, Nicole. John, we've talked a little bit about the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this team at times this year. I thought it was the doctor that showed up on Wednesday night, assuming the doctor is the one that you want. What's the difference between those two sides? How does the game look different when the team that you want shows up?
Look, I think consistency. You've seen, whether it's the Miami game where you 0-0 at halftime and they've created their lowest XG. You go into our game against DC, Benteke hadn't had a touch in the box. They barely got out of their own half in the first half. You think of the Nashville game at home where you're up at halftime, etc., etc. We've just not been a team that's been able to consistently put it together for 90 minutes. The Columbus game, the first half, we have 7 shots and to their 1. I mean, it's just it's been a consistent theme. We get to 55, 60 minutes and we seem to hit a wall, and that wall gives our opponents the control of the game. And by the time we find our rhythm again, it's usually too late. So I think for us, it's been about 90-minute performances. I think what was good about the Whitecaps game is we started strong and we finished strong. I thought we were the better team in the last 15 minutes of the game, and certainly had a lot more control. And that's the commitment. Players, one, they have to show up for 90 minutes. The coaches, we have to show up for 90 minutes. The players coming in off the bench have to show up for the 30, 20 minutes that they're given. And I think that's been the other side, is just that period of the game we just don't look like ourselves. We're not pressing, or our attacks just seem to peter out. So I just thought we looked a lot more ruthless or intentional for longer in that game against the Caps. So what I know about Chicago is it's a different beast. We are dealing with those accumulated minutes now. That's a reality. So lads coming in off the bench are going to be crucial in how I structure the lineup and which players can come in and add a new level of freshness. I've got to be really mindful of that. Given that we have a game against Red Bulls in 3 days after that as well, 4-day turnaround. So it's not just this weekend. I've got to think of the home match and then ultimately a quick turnaround to a game against Miami.
One last one from me, if that's all right, John. Christine Sinclair announced her retirement today. Just thought I'd see what comes to your mind when you hear that she's hanging them up.
Yeah, just legend, absolute legend of the women's game, legendary athlete in this country. But just the humility that she's been able to carry through her career is something that stands out to me. As I've said many a times, never wanted more than a teammate, never wanted more of the limelight, was happy just to play the game she loved in the way that she knew, and to bring as many people on a successful journey as she could. And she did that. Great leader, wonderful Canadian. And, I'm hoping one day I get a chance to work with her again in the football field, either as an assistant coach or, in something else that she decides to do. I think whatever she sets her mind to, Prime Minister, she'll be successful.